All right, everyone, it's Billy D, and this is one of our many to come exciting podcasts. And I really, truly have made a great friend with Dr. Edward Group, who has been really instrumental in helping me actually with the vision here and help get us some great speakers. Dr. Ed Group, say hi to everybody in CalJam land.
Hey everybody in CalJam land. I mean, I'm really looking forward to CalJam 2015. It's going to be incredible. You've done a great job with the speaker lineup, the topics. I mean, there's so much that everybody's going to be able to learn this year, and I'm excited about sharing new and exciting information that not only every single doctor needs to know that affects 10 out of 10 of their patients, but really anybody who's interested in natural healing. I mean, this is vital information they're going to be able to take with them and actually implement immediately in their practice or in their own life.
And cool, before we break into that, I kind of wanted to get, since last year was your first year, and there's a lot of people that haven't been to CalJam, what was your just overall impression of the whole event?
I've been doing seminars since 1998 all over the world, and I've never done a seminar that's been as high class as CalJam was, from the organization aspect to the information covered, just to the excitement and the energy levels. I mean, you know, seminars, I can't stand going to seminars for continuing education usually because I end up falling asleep in the first 30 minutes. I mean, what you've done with CalJam is you've taken it to a whole nother level. It's not just the boring seminar that you're going to go to anymore. I mean, it feels like you're in, a state-of-the-art music hall. I mean, something that you would see a concert in. The energy from the music is there. The energy from the people is there. It's just,
it's palpable, huh?
It's passionate. It's passionate, it's high energy, it's educational, it's state-of-the-art with information that is usually new that people can use. It's not, you're coming to CalJam and hearing the same thing that you've heard every single year.
Right.
You do a good job at bringing new information and new people in every year.
And we pushed the limit a little bit for some of the topics that we got. That we're not afraid to talk about issues that are really important to. They're important to me and they're important to you, and we're trying to get other people to understand some of the significant issues not only plaguing human health, but also the health of the planet and our capacity for sustainability. And I can't thank you enough for getting on board last year, because you didn't know who I was, and we reached out to you, and you were more than just helpful on every level. I want to do some more of those comics that we're doing too, because those are a pretty fun way to get the message out to people, especially the younger crowd. So you want to talk about hormone imbalance this year,
right?
You said 100% of the people are men having that issue too.
It's really affecting men just as much, if not more, than women.
Okay.
I kind of call it Operation Testosterone Estrogen. Like you said, there's a lot of topics that are on the controversial side. I try to look at the root cause of what's causing disease, what's causing emotional disorders, what's causing the lack of spirituality, the lack of good health in the country today. And, I'm really big on, keeping the body clean and keeping it healthy. But I have spent a lot of time since CalJam of last year, focusing more in on the endocrine system and what's really going on and how we're being attacked by multiple angles and how that is all affecting our hormone levels. And if anyone out there is feeling fatigued, run down, depressed, they've gained weight, most likely it's going to be a hormonal imbalance. And that's going to be caused by what they're putting in their system, the harmful chemicals, the metals, the endocrine disruptors, the phthalates, the plastics. And really diving into this, it's amazing at how many things people come in contact with on a daily basis that are going to alter their hormones. And what I'm really talking about is disrupting the way that the endocrine system works. And the endocrine system consists of the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the adrenal glands, the thyroid, the parathyroid, the thymus, and really the biggest endocrine organ is the gastrointestinal tract. Most people don't know that, but Guess what? All those chemicals that you're taking in through the food and the water and the beverages that you eat and every single thing that comes in, it attacks the gastrointestinal lining first, and it damages the intestinal lining and the GMOs and everything that's going to cause leaky gut syndrome. So focusing on the root cause is what my mission is. And right now, talking with doctors for the last year, digging up as much research as I possibly can. This is a huge issue that is not really being addressed too much by the chiropractors out there, by the naturopathic physicians. I'm learning more and more about the importance of it every single day and how to naturally balance the hormones. We have right now estrogen dominance that's going on in males and females.
Right.
And we have chemicals now that are sterilizing men. And so it's not that, with the infertility problems out there are rampant. I mean, couples are having such a hard time getting pregnant and having kids. And that's some of the issues that I want to address is how you can avoid the natural ways you can balance your hormones, how you can avoid and identify the estrogen mimickers, the xenoestrogens, what they're doing to the body, why men are becoming feminine. Yeah, men are becoming feminized. Why there's such a problem with fertility these days, why it's the men, why we have lowered sperm count in practically every guy 16 and older, why we have, decreased gonadal, deficiency, why we have hypothyroidism. I mean, it all really is tracing back to hormonal imbalance and estrogen dominance. And then that's not even getting into the situations that we're having with women with the fibrocystic breast disease, the deficiency of iodine, which I'm going to briefly talk about because iodine is one of those endocrine organ stimulants that help balance all of the function of the endocrine glands. What's going on with andropause now in males, what males can do
what goes on with andropause?
Well, andropause is, just like menopause in women,
right.
Andropause is now what happens with males when they get low sex drive, low libido.
Okay.
They have low energy levels. It's hard for them to get up in the morning. Low testosterone, low growth hormone, low DHEA levels. Their hormones are out of balance. They're having a hard time with really being able to function like a male. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So they're having prostate problems, and then they're also having thyroid issues as well. So andropause is basically what they're calling hormonal imbalance in males after the age of 40, but we're really seeing it, it's not being diagnosed as early as 20.
Wow. And let's put a little spice in this because I love the spice in life. A little conspiracy in there. Do you think this is just a byproduct of our toxic environment, or do you think there might be some specific agenda that's going on there too with decreased population, depopulation agendas?
Without a doubt, if anybody gets into the research as much as I have, it dates back even to the 1940s when fluoride was introduced into the water to calcify the pineal gland, which in effect, if you look at all of the endocrine disrupting chemicals, they were all man-made.
Right.
Okay? There are no endocrine disrupting chemicals that are going to destroy your endocrine system and imbalance your hormones that aren't man-made. So then the question is, why are they using man-made chemicals to do this when they can use natural compounds or just avoid them altogether? Why is the FDA approving these things? Why are they allowing these things in our air, in our water, in our food, when they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's going to cause sterility, which is going to limit the population. It's going to cause infertility, which is, with fertility. It's going to cause massive skin problems. It's going to cause outbreaks, blotchiness, premature wrinkling. It's going to cause hair hair growth or hair loss. It's going to cause weight gain. You know, think of all the obesity problems. They know when people gain weight and become obese, it just one thing leads to another. It's when you link it all together, you see
Now,
that
does this
all
make
of
people
these
less
symptoms.
attractive to each other, or what's?
Well, that's another good theory on population control. You know, it does. You know, look, hey.
Don't.
You know, look around and look at the obesity problem. I was
Oh my
talking
God,
to
it's
my
out of
wife
control.
about it the other day. When we were in high school, I don't remember, we had maybe one obese kid in our whole school.
Right, right.
You know, now it's like there's one good looking kid in the whole school. I
Right.
mean, you know, I do believe that this is done by design, and you know, you don't have to look far to see that, because if you disrupt the endocrine function, and I also believe this is why chiropractic is so important, because chiropractic and adjusting the spine helps stimulate the endocrine glands, and this is why it really ties in chiropractic care with balancing patients' hormones. There's not too many chiros out there right now that are focusing on hormone balancing, and they should, because not only does cleansing, you know, the body help so much, but also education, you know, educating the patients. And I talked to a chiropractor the other day who was trying to sell me this management program thing. He's like, do you want to see 120, 150 patients in a week? And I told him, you know, how are you going to really address the root cause of those patients if you're seeing 150 patients in a week? I mean, how are you going to address their hormone issues? How are you going to find out what they're exposing themselves to? I mean, chiropractic is more than just adjusting the spine. You know, if you look at BJ's work, if you look at the great chiropractors from the past, it's a full-blown spiritual, physical, emotional system that has to take place with educating the patient.
Right.
So I think it'll be really good and good information that I'm going to be presenting at CalGym this year on ways and signs, because you know the doctors aren't even giving people answers when they go in. You know, look, we were talking
They're
about
going to get more
symptoms,
drugs.
but
Is all they're going to get.
yeah, sleep. I mean, everything you can link to toxicity in the body, and most of it through endocrine disrupting chemicals. I mean, you know, think of stress, anxiety. Okay, yes, that can be linked to hormone imbalance, thyroid, depression, you know, insomnia, low sex drive. What do people do? Obesity. They run to their doctor for all these different symptoms. Mood disorders, any mood disorders, you know, you can trace it back to endocrine disrupting chemicals. So, you know, it's great. I mean, the DSM came out, the psychiatrists got together, they made up a bunch of mental illnesses. They can prescribe mental, you know, drugs now for all these mental illnesses, which are just no more than chemical imbalances within the body that can easily be fixed. So the main focus of what I'm going to be talking about is just how to recognize this, you know, how to educate the patients and individuals on the most important endocrine disrupting chemicals that they don't even think that they would have around their house, but they're probably taking in through food, and they're taking in through beverages, and they're taking in through industrial chemicals and cleaners and stuff like that in their homes. So some of those are going to include BPA, which you know, and the bisphenols, which now they're more than just one, and those are going to be in plastics, and you know, the plastics around your house that you and your kids are exposed to. And then we're going to talk about some other things too, you know, how to avoid BPA. And we're going to get into dioxins, which are industrial chemicals that interfere with sperm count, and that's going to be dioxins are being found now in milk and meat and fish and the fat, in cigarette smoke, and herbicides, pesticides, you know, if you're spraying your lawn with any of those things. Atrazine, which is made by Syngenta, our favorite genetically modified glyphosate pesticide manufacturer. It's a toxic herbicide that's sprayed on practically 99% of the corn in the U.S. So if you eat corn that's not, you know, you're getting genetically modified
Right.
corn, and you're getting high levels of endocrine disrupting chemicals on the corn. How many, I talk to people, I'm like, they say, well, I don't eat GMOs, you know, I don't eat any corn. I'm like, do you ever eat at a Mexican restaurant? And they go,
Right.
yeah. I go, did you eat the chips there? And they're like, oh yeah. So, people really don't, they don't realize what they do put in their system. And
right.
so
And then a
that's,
lot of that stuff's, cooked in canola oil, which is all GMO, and, all the corn oils are GMO. So it's just like, it's almost impossible to get away from that stuff unless everything you eat is pretty much organic. Let me touch a little bit on your background, because we're reading you backwards right now. I don't know if that's by design. But you are a chiropractor, naturopath, and then I can't read with you. Is that a neurology degree? Because it's kind of wrinkled there.
Well, no, I've got a lot of diplomates. A diplomate in the American
Medical
Board of Nutrition, a diplomate in the American Board of Functional Medicine, the diplomate of the American Board of Chiropractic Nutrition. So I'm also, a clinical herbalist. I've got all kinds of other stuff too. So really, it all boils down to, honestly, I didn't really learn a lot of the stuff that I know now in the schooling, because even in the schooling, they don't teach the root cause of disease. And that's really what I was after. Chiropractic school was great, but then, doing independent research really on tracing back each individual chemical that we're exposed to and looking at how that works in the body and how that affects the immune system, how it affects the body overall, psychologically, mentally, physically, etc., and spiritually. That's really what led me to develop the disease theory. Well, it's really not a theory. It's really the root cause of all disease is when you're bombarded with too many toxins coming in, and you're not eliminating toxins as fast enough. And that's not something that I really developed. I mean, if you look at books in the 1900s and even dating back to Paracelsus' work in the 1600s, you'll see that, how, toxic man-made chemicals, et cetera, affect the body. What I did really was just put it all together and just say, these are all coming in through the intestinal lining. This is what you need to eliminate. This is what you need to look for. And this is how you clean your body. And moving into, teaching people how to detoxify and clean their body and their environment and their food and what they put in their system, because that's really addressing
what they clean their house with, every angle.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's really what got me into this whole business. And we opened up a cancer clinic in 1998, and we were doing this and teaching people how to eliminate cancer from their bodies until we were rated by the FDA and told that they don't want cures in this country. And that led me into more of the government conspiracy and the eugenics programs that were going on in the association of Bill Gates and everybody with the Illuminatis, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. And let me tell you, I mean, this is not something we're making up. This is real, and there's documented evidence available out there to prove that, this is all done by design.
Why is it there's so many people resistant to even accepting that as a possibility? I mean, it's so blatantly obvious to you and I, and you look what's going on the planet today, it's just like it's staring you in the face. I don't know, is it just the distraction that people have in their lives, whether it's TV or their families? But I mean, these are real issues that are, obviously are important to you and I, because I mean, you have kids, and it's just like you want to have a place for these kids to grow up in. And I still got some good life in me too. And I love life, and I can't stand to see the fact that we've got these, higher ups that really control the planet and the destiny of our planet.
Yeah, it's real aggravating, and I don't know. I mean, a lot of it has to do with people just watch the mainstream media.
Oh, of course.
They watch the news, and the news is going to lie to you, and it's hard to break out of that when you have the majority of the population feeding you false information.
Right.
But, the good thing is more and more people are waking up to reality. I don't understand when you can look up in the sky and clearly see lines at angles over your head. And this has been going on for 15 years. And type in, the Department of Defense, the U.S. government admits, you can pull up the documents that show the contracts for 12 billion tons of nanoparticles of aluminum to be sprayed in the air. It's not like we're making this up. I mean, this is all documented by the government. Why aren't people doing anything about it? It's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, we've got Dane Wigington hitting that subject real hard this year, and I'm sure you're familiar with him, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I talk real quick about this whole Ebola thing, too? I mean, what's your opinion on that? Just another swine flu kind of gig, or what?
Yeah, the difference, it's a good question. The difference between Ebola and, I get calls and been getting calls every single day about it. The difference between this and the swine flu and the H1N1 is they contained and set up quarantine for them. What's different and kind of weird about this Ebola is, well, first of all, it traces back to Bill Gates' secret vaccine production and Ebola testing over there that was going on. Second of all, the reason why it's clearly stated that in the case of a pandemic, you control it and you quarantine it. Why on earth would we fly people all over the world that have Ebola? That makes zero sense. The next thing is, why are they flushing the waste of the Ebola patients into the water system in Atlanta? That doesn't make sense. They're not controlling and containing the waste material. It's almost like they want a pandemic to happen this time with the Ebola.
I think they're losing so much. So much ground with their vaccine theory and their agenda. They're really trying to push that whole agenda to get people back on the vaccine bandwagon, I think is what it is.
Well, of course, Obama signed an executive order to detain anybody right now and to create martial law. They can detain anybody with signs of a respiratory illness. Okay, that means you could be walking down the street and cough, and the military can come detain you. The U.S. government has already contacted funeral homes across the United States, told them to get ready for an influx. They've already contacted burial sites. This is all public knowledge. You have to look at the fear factor, too, because I'm not scared of Ebola. I know you're not scared of Ebola. If you're prepared and your body is healthy and you know what to do in case of a pandemic, there's no fear about it. Stock up on oregano, stock up on silver, stock up on MMS. As a matter of fact, the Department of Defense in 1996 did a study on what worked with Ebola, and they classified it. Just recently it was unclassified, and it showed that silver at 10 parts per million deactivate the Ebola virus. It's real hard to find silver anywhere right now because FDA and FTC are showing up on doorsteps attacking everybody. They just attacked Natural Solutions Foundation, Ralph Fucitola, and Dr. Rima Labau for bringing up and finding and uncovering that DOD report that silver nanoparticles kill Ebola. And so they showed up on their doorstep, the FDA and the FTC, with warning letters. So, that's another thing. Why are these natural things not allowed out there? I mean, it goes back to the eugenics thing. It goes back to the pandemics. It goes back to martial law. It goes back to why Obama was elected, why they manipulated everything. It goes back to the, terrorist organizations which were created by the CIA. They had to create a new one in ISIS. I mean, that's going a little bit far off, but I mean, this is all has to do with talking about health and keeping your body healthy. That is the way that you survive. I mean, that's the way that you survive. It comes down to one thing. If they, you got to take care of your own body. You have to take responsibility for your own health. You have to avoid, and you have to be educated enough to know about all of these things that are in your environment that you need to avoid.
Right, and Fred Barge used to say it all the time. It's not the seed, it's the soil. It's not the germ. It's whether your soil's ready for the seed.
Yeah, well, that's Louis Pasteur's germ theory right there. I mean, he said on his deathbed, I was wrong all these years. It's not the germ that causes disease, it's the environment that causes disease. Right.
And it's the weak individual and the lowered resistance that causes the susceptibility to the disease. Let me touch real quick in closing here. You are a frequent guest on InfoWars, which, I mean, I want to use that kind of a little bit of a springboard for CalJam if we can, but you guys have a few viewers on that station pretty much every day, right?
Right. Alex Jones, if nobody's familiar with Alex Jones, he's been a renegade for uncovering a lot of the processes that the government has used over the years. So I highly suggest, if you don't know about Alex Jones, to go check him out. Currently, he's got 15 million viewers around the world. As a matter of fact, he's good friends with Ron Paul. A lot of people that support his cause. He came to me, and he knows the times are tough right now. His clients know the times are tough.
And, we are developing, working with him and developing products that people can use and plans of action that people can use in case of a pandemic or just so you can educate yourself as well, what you can do. So I would recommend people, if you haven't heard of Alex Jones, to go online and maybe just listen to one of his shows at Infowars.com. And there's a good possibility, actually, that Alex will be speaking at CalJam in 2015, which is going to be a
We
good,
didn't want to break that
exciting
news, but
edition.
it is a possibility. It's a big possibility, and I'm almost, in a sense, I'm stoked he's going to be there. I just don't know we have the capacity to handle the crowd that he's going to generate there.
Well, it's better to have more people
Oh
than
yeah,
not enough people.
That's
so,
not a complaint. That was just
it just so happens that this year you're doing the live stream, and so with the speakers that you have and the followers of the speakers that you have, I mean,
Right.
you're talking about millions upon millions of people. By far, I think CalJam this year is going to explode worldwide because we have so many international people that listen to us, Christina, the other speakers, Alex. I mean,
We got
just
Gucciardi speaking on radiation this year from Fukushima.
exactly.
Yeah.
Gucciardi. I mean, he's got hundreds of thousands of people with the live stream. I mean, I think if you can come live, I mean, those seats are going to be like platinum. Like a golden ticket.
Right.
You need to get those and snatch them up because I'm sure you're going to be sold out really fast. But then the live stream too, I think that it's just going to be incredible. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the live stream is going to be great, but it's not going to be like being at the event. And the parties, I mean, you enjoyed the gala dinner that we have, the black tie, and then you and your wife both love the disco party, I think, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just a good, energetic. I mean, nobody's like stuffy. Everybody's friendly.
Right.
I mean, it's an awesome environment where everybody's humble. Nobody's better than anybody else. Everybody can just get together, share information, and have fun. I mean, that's the thing. Have fun. I really love the parties. I love the black tie affair. I love the fact that you just get everybody together in a really fun, happy environment,
loving,
no stress, loving environment, and then you just let everybody, have fun too at the party.
Right, and it's like it's important in life to celebrate, and I think what we're doing here is we need to celebrate the fact that we are getting the message to more and more people because there's a lot more of us than there are them, and if we can get enough of us on board, we can be a resistance to what we see that's going on the planet. And I just really want to thank you for, number one, getting involved with CalJam, but also I feel like you're a friend and anybody I can go to when I need anything. I mean, of all the speakers I call, you always pick up the phone for me, and I really, really appreciate that. And hopefully one of these days, this is one of my goals, is that we can go snowboarding or just go to the mountains together and just hang out afterwards and let our hair down. You have a little bit more than I do, but...
You just don't grow it.
Yeah, I know. I like this... People think I look like Kelly Slater, so they call me.
You do look like Kelly Slater, actually. Listen, I'm a big supporter of CalJam and what you're doing, and thank you for even, having me on, and I'm happy to help. I mean, we have the same, and all the speakers really have the same goal in mind. I mean, nobody, the speakers don't get paid for CalJam. This is about giving back to society. I mean, this is about, look, and there's a lot of speakers out there that turned down the opportunity because they wanted to be paid to come. And that just really upsets me because if you're really in this for the greater good of the people and the earth, I mean, you need to donate your time and you need to get the word out there and educate people on how to help people. And you're devoted to this year round and you put in so many hours of dedication. And that's what I do too. I dedicate my life to teaching people the truth and getting this information out there. And so does all the other speakers that you have. So congratulations, and I'm really looking forward to coming this year.
All right, man. We're going to have a good time. I really love and appreciate you, and thanks for doing... This is our second podcast after Fully Raw Christina.
I know. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thanks for getting her on the program, too. She's going to be a knockout.
She is going to be. She's going to be great.
All right. All right. Thanks for your time, brother. And I will talk to you on the flip. I'll talk to you soon. You know that. We're
all right. Thanks for having me on. Peace.
All right, bro.